Hello and welcome back for another HTML tutorial. This week we are going to learn about 3 important things when it comes to HTML. The first one is folder organization. The second one is cascading style sheets, or in other words, CSS. The third are lists. So the first thing that we're going to do in order to get into file or folder organization is we're going to come up and we're just going to recreate our folder structure so we can start fresh. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click File and I'm going to click Open Folder. From here, I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call this folder CS1030 site with an underscore right there. Awesome. Great. Now, if you can't do that from inside of your brackets, just do it from your File Explorer if you're on a Windows or your Finder if you're on a Mac. So go in and do this first, and you can, instead of creating a new folder, you can just open up from brackets whichever folder you're wanting to use. But I've created my new folder here, and I'm going to click Open. Great. Now you can see in this upper left-hand corner how it says CS1030 site. That means that brackets has this particular folder open, and we'll be able to see whatever's inside of it on this left-hand side. Now there's nothing in there because we have nothing in there yet, so that is why it's showing nothing. So now we're going to create our first file for this folder, and I'm going to click New, and you'll see it gives us this untitled -1 name. But I want to name this folder, and I'm actually going to name it very intentionally. You see, in HTML or in web development in general, it's very common to have a name for your home page of your site. And that name is index. That is the industry standard for naming the home page of your site. Wherever you want your site to open up to first, you call that page index. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to click Save, and I'm going to call it index.html. There you go. Now we have our main home page in our site, and we still have to fill it out, but now we have proper folder structure. Now let's go ahead and give our site the standard body. Even if you do have it memorized, it's just easier to copy and paste some stuff. So I'm going to come grab this out of my W3 Schools. I'll click back over and paste it into my brackets page. Awesome. Now I'm going to click Save. I'll just go File and then Save. There you go. Now if I open up my web page, we have this nice heading and this paragraph. This is all old news for us. We've done this before. Now what we're going to do is we are going to erase these. And let's go ahead and fix our indentation here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a list inside of our the body of our HTML page. And the way we do that, let me just flip over here to my CSS page, and let's take a look at lists. So here we have in our w3schools.com, we have some examples of some HTML lists. So here is an unordered item HTML list. So you guys have all seen this in your Word documents. And then here's an ordered item. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm going to do is come down here and we're going to look at this. It says unordered HTML. So how do we do this? So first of all, you're going to need that UL tag. So that is going to be the container for your list. And can anybody guess what that means? Yes, that means unordered list. And then for every list item, you're going to want to use the LI tag. All right, so I'm going to come in here into my main page that we just had pulled up, and we are going to create the UL tag. Oh, there you go, and it just closes it up for me like that. Don't you love brackets? All right, now we are going to create our first list item. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the word networking, and then the next on the list is I'm going to put architecture, and the next on the list I'm going to put history. There we go. Now let's switch back over, and now we have this nice list of stuff that we have. That's good. That's easy, right? Let's do one more thing before we're done with this page for a minute, and that is let's give it a header. We're going to call this CS1030 and then my first name and last name. There we go. Now when I switch back over, since it has the live preview, it's showing me the title and the list. Okay, now I'm gonna do one more thing, and this is, you can do this if you want to. I like to add a little HR / and that will give me a little border line. And so now I have some separation between my title and my list. Okay, so that's enough with this page for now. Let's go ahead and create another page in our folder. So I'm gonna go to new, I'm going to go to save, and I'm gonna call this one networking.html. And again, I'm going to give it that same standard body. Now, I should have the char UTF in there, but I'm going to forego that for this minute just so I can keep going without being interrupted and having to go type that out. So, okay, here we go. Here's the body of our networking page. Now, I'm going to put a networking page picture in here. So let me come over here. I'm going to go to Unsplash. I'm going to click networking, computer, and let's see. Yes, these are some good networking pictures. I'm going to use, I'll just use the one that I picked. Okay, so I'm going to save image as, and I'm going to call this one image 1. And I'm going to come into my site. I'm going to save it in there. I'm going to save it into my folder that I just created. Now you can see I have image 1 in here, and when I click on it, it pulls it up so I can see it. Awesome. So the next thing I want to do is put my networking image in there. So I'm going to do image src equals, and then it's going to let me choose my image. Now notice that I have the source and then the name of the image here spelled exactly right. And now I'm going to put some alternative text, and it's just going to say networking image. Great. Now if I come over to my live preview, my whole page is just this networking image. Awesome. Let's give it a title. Cool. Your pages will have other things in them besides this, but now we've gone over some concepts that we went over last week and the week before, and now we've had a good review. So recapping here, what I've done is I've created a better folder structure for my website. Now, one thing that I've failed to do that I want you all to do in your sites, and that is I want you to put your image in an image folder. I'm going to open up my Finder here. And I'm going to create for myself a new folder, and it's going to be called images. Now I'm going to put my image in my image folder. Now I have all my HTML pages with each other, and my images will all go in this image folder. Great. Now when I pull up my web page, all I see is my alternative text. Why? Because it can't access my image, because there is no image in this current folder where my HTML file. So whatever folder my HTML file is in, it's looking for that image in this same file. So what we need to do is we need to back up into our image file. Notice I put my little backslash here, and it shows me my images folder. So I'm going to click there, and now it can find it. So we use these little backslash tags to back out. See, if I wanted to look for, just for an example here, if I wanted to look for something in another folder, I could do that backslash, but I could do, let's see, the dot. Do you see how it shows me all sorts of other files? It's because I have backed out of that site a couple of times, or out of this folder a couple times. So every little dot that we do, it's going to back us out of our folder a little farther. So it'll back us out to the next folder. And this is all in regarding file structures. And we're going to get into those topics later, but I just kind of wanted to show you a little bit about putting links into your HTML page. So this is how I want you to do it. I want you to create an images folder that you're going to house all of your images in. I want you to give your images names that are easy to link to. And I want you to use this type of a link to link your images. Okay, awesome. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is cascading style sheets. Great, so now I want to do one more thing, and that is I want to come into my index.html page, and notice I have a networking item on my list. Well, I want to actually link that networking item to my networking page. So I'm going to do an A, and then I'm going to push this out a little bit so I can do this A without accidentally erasing my networking word. But I'm going to do A, and then I'm going to do my href attribute, and then I'm going to choose my networking page. And I'm going to close that tag. Now, because brackets gives me my closing tag, I'm going to have to move it and put it behind my networking text. Now if I come over here, look at that. It's nice and linked over to my networking page. So when I click it, click on networking, and there you go. Now in order to do this, you need to make sure that your pages are saved here. So it couldn't navigate over here before because my networking page wasn't saved. But as soon as I came over here and I clicked save, the preview worked. So make sure that you're saving. But now what do? I can't get back to my my index page without clicking back. So I'm going to move over into my networking page, and I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put this same navigation actually. I'm going to just copy that list. Whoops, I should copy the whole list. I'm going to copy that list. And I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to save it again. I'm going to open up my page here. Now I have my menu at the top of my page. And it says networking, and that's not what we want. So let's go into our networking area. And instead of calling it networking, we're going to call it home. And instead of networking.html, we'll do index.html. Then we're going to save it. Let's open it up again. There you go. So now we can go back home. And now we're going to do networking and home. There you go. So now what I want you to do is navigate into the old site. And I want you to move all of the information from that site into your new site, into your new 1030 site. So let me find where that is on my page here. Boom. All right, now I have officially moved everything over, but that's not all I need to do. I need to make sure that my picture is in my images. So now I have architecture, history, networking, and security. So now I want to make sure that I have a way to link from the home page all of these pages. So I'm going to go back over to my home page. I'm going to add one more. I forgot to add security. So let's add security. And now we're going to link up all of these pages. So H, reference, and we're obviously going to choose architecture. We're going to close the tag, copy that, and move it in between the tag. We're going to do the same thing again. So we'll do there. Now, when I open up my web page, first of all, I'm going to save that. Don't forget to save that. But now when I open up my web page, I have all 4 pages on there. So look, if I go to architecture, there's my old architecture page. Remember, I was showing you how to create tables. Then I have my security. And now I have my security page, but oh look, my picture's not showing. Why? We'll deal with that in just a second, but I'm going to go back. And now I have my history page. Awesome. Well, now you can see I have my history, a link to my history, or to my computer security and link to my history, but now we're going to change that up a bit. So the first thing that we're going to do to change that up a bit is we're going to go into our security page. And actually, before we change that up a bit, let's make sure that our security page can show its image. So here we have the image and then the source is security, but remember we can't find it because it's not in this exact folder. We need to navigate into the next folder up. So we're going to do a backslash, I'm sorry, not a backslash, a forward slash, and we're going to choose images. There you go. Don't forget to save that. Now when I come over here, you'll see that the image is now properly showing. Now I'm going to delete my link to computer history. I'm going to just take that right out. And I'm going to come over, or I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to come over to my history page, and I'm going to delete my link out of there, because now what I want to do is I want to have continuity through my web pages. So what I'm going to do is take my index, and first of all, what is continuity? Continuity is, for a technical definition, it's going to mean the unbroken and consistent existence or operation of something over a period of time. Okay, so but today we're going to be saying we want our websites to have an unbroken pattern or existence so that each page feels like I'm going to the same site. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this menu, or our page has continuity through the whole site. So I'm just going to copy this over here, and I'm going to go into my architecture page. And I'm going to, in the body, I'm going to add my menu. And because this page did not have a title before, I'm going to give it one, and I'm going to call it Computer Architecture. And then I'm going to use that same line that I showed you. And then I'm going to save it. Now when I move over to here, you can see I have a list of other pages that I can go to, and then a title and a nice separating line. So now I'm going to come in here, and instead of I'm going to remove the architecture page, and I'm going to add the home page. So I'll just do href equals index.html. And I'm going to close it, and I'm going to make sure it says home. Then I'm going to save it. And there you go. Now I have home. So I can go home from there. All right, now I'm just going to speed through. I'm going to do this for the rest of the pages. And so let me just hang on one bit. I'm going to take just a second to do that, and I'll come right back. Awesome. Now I have all of my pages fixed with this nice menu and a title. So I'm going to check out my architecture page. Now I've gone ahead and added a space between my list here, and the way I've done that is I've added this BR / tag, and if I go to my history page and I come down after home, I can add that after each of my home links so that there's a differentiation between going home and going to somewhere else in the page. So make sure that you're saving everything as well. I did not save those between switching pages, so I'm going to come over here and save. All right. All right, now when I come here, I can go to any of these pages, the architecture page here, and it's separated. And when you see how we have this nice continuity here, now we've covered lists and folder organization. So now what I want to do is cover some cascading style sheets. Now that sounds so complicated, but really it's very easy. So the first thing I want you to do is go into your folder and create a new folder, and we're going to call it styles. So just like we have a folder for all of our images, we want a folder for all of our styles. Now inside of our styles folder, we're going to create, let's actually navigate to inside of that folder real quick. So I'm going to click that styles folder, and I'm going to right click here and choose new file. And see how it put a new file in here. I am going to call it style.css. Awesome. Okay, now put that on hold for a second. I'm going to come back over to my architecture page. Do you remember how last week we created these style tags? Inside of those style tags, we put some attributes. These are called CSS attributes. And just like how we have these predefined HTML tags, we also have predefined CSS attributes, so we get to use these in order to style our page. Well, remember how we were talking about continuity? We really want all of our web pages to look the same if we can. So let me show you an example. If I come over here to google.com, and you see it has this beautiful, all this white space here, and then these nice Google colors. These are like the Google color theme, right? But say I Google CSS. We still have this nice Google theme, right? It's got the white background. We have the same fonts. Everything looks organized. It has this continuity to it. And the same goes for, I don't know, Amazon. So if I were to go to amazon.com, and you can come see in this top level here, I have this type of font. Let me click on something here. Go to, let's see, Kindle Books. Let's click on Kindle Books. And you see how the site still feels like I'm at Amazon. It doesn't feel like I've changed sites. So we want to have that same thing for our web pages. So the way that we're going to achieve that is by using cascading style sheets. And to make this easy on myself, I am just going to take everything that was in our original style sheets from last week from our architecture website. I'm going to take that out. And I'm just going to do a Control X or a Command X if I am on a Mac, I'll do Command X. If I'm on a Windows, I'll do Control X. And I'm just going to paste that into my page. And that did not translate over right, so I'll make sure I tab that into the right space. Awesome. Now I'm going to save that. Okay, so now I've taken that out, and now when I look at let me make sure I remove my style tags there. So now when I look at my web page though, if I save that and I come over here and try to take a look at it, you'll see that it's not beautiful anymore. So we're like, hey dude, I just tried to move this so that I can use my style sheets and have it work right. But it did not work right. So why is that? Well, we have our style sheets. It's in the same folder as it should be, but how do we get it to, say, transfer over to all of our pages? We want that same type of style in all of our pages. How do we put that in there into our web pages? Well, the way we would do that is through linking. And so it's actually called a link tag that we use, and we put it in our header tag, our head tag. And I am just going to paste that in there. But you see it says link, and then I'm going to tell that tag that we're with this attribute saying we're using a style sheet. So what kind of link? We're doing a style sheet link. And then I'm going to link it right here just using that same href that we use in all of our other linking. And I'm going to tell it the name, but it's still not going to find it, and it's because we still need to do our / and find our style page. Okay, perfect. There we go. Now, when I save this and I open this up, you'll see that my formatting is there again. So now it's reaching into this style page, and it now has access to those styles. So now when I come to my other pages, I don't think we have anything in our other pages that would need to be changed. Or that would be changed because that was all the styling here, if you remember right, was from our table. So, but what if we want to style our paragraphs? Well, let's go and see. How did we style our security paragraphs? So we have this inline CSS. I'm going to take that out and make this like a normal web page on my paragraphs again. And I'm going to come into my styles, define my tag here, and it's a P. I'm going to give it an opening and closing brace here. And then I'm going to say, we're going to say color is purple. And then we use our little, our semicolon there. So now I'm going to save that. And now when I go back over to architecture, since it is linked in architecture, I'm going to come over here to my page. And we don't have any paragraphs, but what if I put a paragraph in here? I'm going to come over here, and you see that it has linked it and turned that word purple. Cool. So let's go ahead and put this link in all of our styles, or in all of our HTML pages. So I'm going to come up here into my header tag. I'll link it up here. I'm going to put it in my index. Even though we don't have any paragraphs right now, I want the consistency, because we may put other stuff in here. We don't know yet, but at least if I have it in there, then it will be consistent. So let's go ahead and put that in there, save it, and in our security page, save. Now, I want to make sure that don't have any other purple styles here. Let me take out my style for my header 3 tag. Okay. I'm going to save that. Now when I pop back over to my preview, you can see that my P tags are still styled purple, even though that inline style tag, or that inline style attribute, was removed because it's linking back to the style.css. If I come over to history, we have our history tag has been styled purple. Our networking, we already decided there's no paragraphs in here, and same with architecture. So if we wanted to put a paragraph in here, it would be purple because it's linked that way. But let's go ahead and change the headers. So I'm going to come back into my style tag, into my styling sheet, and I'm going to do H3, and then I'm going to tell it to do color purple again, and then I put my semicolon and I save. Now when I open this up, if I come to, there we go, now my headers are purple. Now let's do the background colors. Let's do body. Do our opening, closing brace, background color. Look at all these different available attributes though. So you can do a background image, you can do a background position. I'm just going to do a color. And again, I'm going to do my floral white. So now, whenever I go into any of my pages, they're all going to have that nice floral white. I have a couple, I accidentally put something in there that's weird right there. Let me go to my home page and see what I did there. Oh, it's at the end there. Okay, there we go. So now they all have that nice floral white background. So that is just a brief tutorial on CSS. Feel free to experiment and play with these, but please remember that I do want your web pages to exhibit this folder organization, and I do want you guys to transfer your old work into this new format. So go ahead and do this, and please rewatch this video if you need help with any of the styling or formatting, and email me if you have any questions. Please make sure to zip up your files into one folder. That is, you can compress them. So make sure that you are compressing those all of those files into one folder for your final submission.